Overall, I think we played good, but there are some things that we gotta pay more attention to. Pay attention to details more. Uh, it was really important to us to get this win after a tough loss against Louisiana at home after in overtime. So I think we did a pretty good job energy-wise, bouncing back and win this game.
Let's say hard to call it a must win when it's this early in the season, non-conference. But did it kind of have a feel that you guys really needed to come out and play well and get the win?
I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, as I said after the game, season is going up and down. The most important thing is to go up after going down. That's the most important thing, not only in basketball. I mean, in life. So I think we did a pretty good job with that, and that was the thing that we talked most about between games.
Against Louisiana, you worked so hard to close the gap at the end and came up just short. Were you worried about a letdown today?
Uh, no, we were not worried. We just knew that we lost the game because we let them get two offensive rebounds at the end of the game. We had a chance to close out the game really good, but we didn't. So that was the thing that we just pay attention to, and I think we did a pretty good job with the rebounds today, and that's why we won.
You guys kind of get into a tough part of the schedule, going down to College Station next and having that TCU game. How important is it to carry some momentum, like you said, ups and downs, and try to stay up from this one?
Yeah, of course. In this part of the season, coach just told us this morning, like we're not gonna have that much time to practice between the games, so we just have to be focused. And if we win, if we lose, we gotta forget that as soon as possible after the game and go into the next one. That's what we gotta do.
You went to the locker room at halftime leading by 15. What did you guys talk about in the locker room? What
Ju-
kind of adjustments did you try to make?
Just about energy, we have a phrase that we use. We gotta be on level 5 all the time. Uh, we just said, come on, let's be on level 5, and things gonna take care of themselves. And that's how it was. We opened the second half, really good, just because we were on level 5, and that's what we gotta do rest of the season. Be on level 5 as many games as possible.
Coming off a tough game against Louisiana and with, 3 days until Texas A&M, you played 14 guys today. How important was it for you and the other starters to get some rest and get some help from the guys on the bench?
I mean, that's really important. We got 15, 16 guys that can really play. I don't think any of them is not ready. They're all ready. They're waiting for their name to be called, and it's really important to come off the bench. And whoever comes to the bench, it's really important to come off the bench and be on level 5. That's it.
Uh, I'm happy for the guys that we're able to get a win against a team that fights hard and well coached by somebody that I really admire and respect, and Coach Brooks. We effort-wise, I thought we were decent. Not quite the level that I was expecting based on the way we practiced the past 2 days. I thought our level Friday was the best since I've been here. And I thought Saturday wasn't quite that, but it was a pretty good carryover from Friday. And I really wanted 40 minutes of that. Selfishly, I wanted that. And I want to get to that. Actually, on my watch, a warning came up, and it said the decibel levels are very loud. This was in the gym on Friday. But that was in Crum. It wasn't in Moody. It probably wouldn't have. But I did think we got stops, rebounded the ball fairly well. I was pleased that we made some shots to start the second half, but we also gave up quite a few to start the second half. But all in all, good effort and something that we can build on. And like I said, I love the response that we had Friday to a very disappointing loss. So I wanted to play at a certain level today. We didn't quite meet it, but we did give ourselves some things that we can build on for sure.
How big was it to, like you said, I mean, you kind of went back and forth a little bit to start the second half, but really ended up making that push, got it to 20 points, and never dropped them below 20 points to kind of make that push and sustain it once you guys did.
Yeah, and generally when that happens, it's because you're getting stops. You know, our offensive execution is still a work in progress, and we talked to them extensively on Friday on what does that even mean to be a work in progress? Because everyone says that this time of year, even the team that's preseason number one, we're a work in progress. But I think if you're really true to that, like we probably qualify for work in progress as much as anybody. But I don't think that our young people have given themselves that amount of grace to say, like, who are we? Where are we? And where should we be relative to where we're coming from? And how do we get from where we are to where we want to be? What does that process look like? And sometimes you get a little bit too wrapped up in what you think people expect of you instead of developing internal expectations based on what you do every day. And what we did on Friday and Saturday, if we're going to be like that, then we can walk out there with some real expectations. And I think that's a real lesson for us. Teams that have an air of confidence about them is because they conduct their business on a day-to-day basis in a certain way. And what does that look like? And they gave themselves that experience on Friday. And if we continue to stack days like that, then we'll walk out there with some real expectations. Otherwise, it's just hope and desires. And there's a big difference.
After the Louisiana game the other night, you were complimentary of your team's effort and fight. And with everything you poured into that game, and with A&M coming up next week, were you concerned about a letdown from your guys, even with the strong practices that you had the last couple days?
A letdown. I think I generally associate letdowns from when you're like on a winning streak, like when you're really doing something. I don't think we're in any position to have a letdown. I don't see how that should even be possible for us. And if it is, then that's really disappointing. But no.
You go to the locker room today, up 15. What did you talk about in the locker room? What kind of adjustments did you discuss?
I didn't like our effort. I didn't like the way we were playing, to be honest with you. I was disappointed at halftime. You know, I've said to these guys since I got here, it's always about us, the guys in the locker room. It's not about the score. It's not about the opponent. It's not about anything other than are we getting better and are we playing to a standard that we're trying to set. And I felt like they allowed the score to dictate our approach there going into halftime. And I was disappointed about that, and the conversation at halftime was exclusively about that.
Zurich led you with 19 points, but 7 of 11 shooting, 3 of 5 from long range. What did you think of his performance? And I know you've only had him for, 6 games, but what have you thought of his development in this just start of his first season playing for you and your staff?
Well, I love him. He's a great kid. He's one of the more talented guys I've ever coached in the backcourt. Sometimes because he's so talented, we forget how young he is, and we've given him a lot of responsibility, and sometimes I think it can weigh on him a little bit, but I think he'll be able to handle it. I was disappointed a little bit tonight because I thought in the Louisiana game, he played with an exceptional level of intensity on defense for a long stretch there. He was really locked in. And I don't think he can pick and choose when he's going to be that guy. And tonight he chose not to do that. And I challenged him in the timeout. He came out of the timeout and he took it up a level, which means he realized that he wasn't playing at that level. And but again, we're asking a lot of him, but only because he's capable of so much.
Zach, struggled shooting tonight, but then has, 7 assists for you. How big is it that a guy like that, when the shots aren't falling, that he's still doing a lot of the other things to obviously be effective in his, 25 minutes on the floor for you tonight?
Yeah, Zach is He's all about the team, man. He's unbelievable. What a great dude. You know, for him to have 7 assists and 0 turnovers, that is remarkable for him. But I'm not surprised. His attitude, he's got a level of clarity about team. It matters to him, the team, and so nothing with Zach ever surprises me.
You're going to your comment about Zurich's defense the other night. He did lead you with 4 steals today. So if he didn't have the same level of performance in your eyes that he had the other night, other than the steals, what would you like to see more of on the defense?
Well, the steals can be deceptive. Yeah, steals and block shots, that's good for NBA people or whatever, but those numbers don't necessarily correlate with are you missing assignments on scouting? Are you playing good one-on-one defense and keeping a guy in front of you? Are you gambling for steals and exposing your team and creating offensive rebounding opportunities in situations where your man might not be the guy that scores, but the penetration that you allow because you gambled for a steal created something for someone else being solid? And so the 4 steals that you may get, he'll get 4 steals. I mean, he's so gifted and talented that he doesn't have to run around and gamble. He can be solid and be patient and make good decisions and still do those things. I mean, he's got all of that at his disposal. But sometimes the numbers don't tell the story. You guys know that. I know I'm not telling you something. But the steals, that's great, But the one thing about him is he wants to be coached. He does. I mean, his heart is in the right place. He wants to get it right. So I love him.
Not to say that part of your schedule you just got wrapped up with is easy, but going to College Station, Jackson State, Arizona coming here, the TCU game, how do you kind of approach this stretch that might be a tougher kind of group of games than what you faced as they try to kind of, like you said, find their footing and kind of find their identity a little bit?
Take it 6 days at a time. No, how's it go? 1 day at a time. Yeah. I mean, that's all you can do. We scheduled this way on purpose, right? So that we could try to accomplish something now, and then we can build something going forward. So we want to play these games, So excited that Buzz is giving us an opportunity to play a home and home, which means we'll go there and they'll come back to Moody. But if we don't play that game now, we wouldn't get it back here, right? So we want these opportunities, and we're willing to take whatever lumps could potentially come or whatever achievements we might possibly have. And that's why I was disappointed at halftime. That's why I wasn't totally satisfied with the outcome of the game, because I want us to play at a certain standard that translates no matter who you're playing or where you're playing. And that's why we're a work in progress.
How gratifying or important is it to you to go, I think, 9 deep on your bench? And what did you think about the play that you got from your reserves tonight?
It was good. I thought it was really good for some guys to get some minutes and start to get more comfortable out there. There's certain guys that when you put them in the game, that they're going to carry scouting and execution into the game, and they're going to be engaged. Frank, Emery, right away when you put them in the game, they're going to do whatever the job that's being asked of them. And there's other guys that if they could figure that out, then there's even more of an opportunity out there for them. And so it's a good lesson for some of those guys. But my trust level is growing with more guys, and that's a good thing.